So there's this thing that I call the torch of pain, which is usually whatever the hell their grandparents or your parents or whatever they taught, they teach you. And sometimes those teachings aren't the best ones, or they're good, but they're presented in a very violent way. So in life, our parents, well, let's go further back. Our grandparents lived in a moment where, let's say, having feelings, being depressed, or feeling any kind of way was weird. Like having feelings, technically speaking, was weird. This generation hasn't died yet. No, this is why we're in the chaos that we're kind of now, because that generation is still alive. That generation of passing the torch of pain is still alive, still passing that torch. That torch is now presented between the generations of our parents. So now our parents had to fight certain things to then move that forward. People are depressed. Some of us are feeling some way. We don't have to marry by our parents. It's now our choice. There were a lot of liberties we didn't have. Now we have more. See, we gotta keep thinking about this because some of you are kind of forgetting that there's a mental um, and perching thing going on. We want to force a new generation of way of thinking without also thinking that we're still in the old one. So some of us are still thinking in the old ways, and some of us are trying to move ahead and move things ahead. I mean, like we're noticing these patterns and things, and where we need to work at, and then moving those things forward. What I'm trying to say is that in this torture, pain that I'm talking about is that our parents were not educated nor taught or anything about the things that some of us are going through. Meaning, when my parents were educated, the way they got educated was like, how much is 3 plus 3? And if you didn't get the answer, you got hit the amount of times the answer was. So if your answer was 36 and you didn't know it, you're getting hit 36 times. So again, some of us stray away from that way of our living because we're like, holy shit, I'm not an animal. What are you doing to me? And some of us end up traumatized in life, and some of us are become very aloof and in tune inside of us, and then we become awkward because what happened to us has effects on us, and what happened to us we sometimes transmit it or spew it out into others, in our children especially. So what I'm technically doing is noticing all these patterns and kind of like making different choices about it and trying to change that, and also observe the fact that where does these things come from, and not necessarily justifying it, because you can say I did it for your own good as much as you want, but no, thank you, no, thank you. But it's more like I understand the pain, I understand how that was. Now I'm making the change because I know better. You see how that works? And not some of us kind of miss that. Some of us kind of like forget that. Some of us kind of realize that our parents didn't have those tools. Our parents didn't have that. They were told either give me what their best, or you're just a failure, or you just nothing, and or whatever. I have never think I have heard my mom said she's proud of me, because I don't think she ever heard of her side of her family. So vice versa, like sometimes some parents don't give things to their children because it wasn't given to them. Sometimes they give more because nothing was given to them. So it all depends on whether you were given, if you give a lot or if you give less. But it equally makes a person act or do things in a certain way because of that. And everyone deals with it differently. So not everyone ends up observing it, being okay with it, because let's be realistic, there was abuse. Observing it from a very different kind of perspective, and letting go and do the forgiveness and doing the the cleansing and all that stuff, because that's kind of what you do when you go through something like this. Like, you realize what's going on, you realize where they went through, you realize where your feelings are too. Yeah, there were things harm that were done to you, they were horrible, but we're here now, we're moving forward, and the best thing about it is that you don't are obligated to keep in contact with anybody. Not a single person that ever did anything to you. You can live a solo life, my friend. If you want a solo life, go ahead and take it. Because if you didn't have that support before and you feel like that's what you need, then I guess that's what you need. Because then where was the support? Where was the other stuff, right? So during this cycle, during this thing, there are some exercises for some of you, maybe if you feel interested in trying, that I did myself. They do help and they're fun, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, which is looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself how much you do try, because you are trying, you are working on things, you are trying something, you are at least thinking about doing something. Move around, move your furniture, clean your house. Well, with meaning, good meaning, not just like, I'm stressed, I need to clean something. Sometimes those are harmful too. But you sit down with yourself and you really realize that you are trying, and that you're trying the best that you can, because there are only so much you can. Your interests are your interests. There's nothing wrong with your interests or nothing wrong with you. Just make sure you're just your bills are paid on time, I guess. You have enough food to eat. Are you eating? Drink some water too. That is it. That is simple as life. I don't think she also like pressured me about, well, she did pressure me about college, but that was a different story. The point is, you sometimes have to be the parent for yourself and give yourself the okay that you did good and that you tried your best, because sometimes you have no one to tell you this. And then who else better than yourself? Unfortunately, in this journey, sometimes you will find yourself alone and doing a lot of self-love, because, well, that's the point. And there was another one, there's another exercise which is my favorite one, and I did it once, and it was really, well, not once, I did it multiple times because it's pretty cool. Like I said, you just, all you have to do is you just imagine a door, and you open the door and you see yourself as a child, you see yourself as a kid. And my first reaction when I first did it was just to hug myself. Like, I couldn't help it. It's just like, oh my God, it's me, tiny me. I love me. I love tiny me. And I just hugged myself and I couldn't help it. It's just a weird reaction that just happens. So maybe you need to do these exercises for yourself too. You know, if is, interested in doing some of that. And but do know that some of those pains is, like I said, you either grab that torch and you wield it around, or you just go, screw that, I'm turning a better one on, and I'm turning a self-righteous one, and try to work with this. Because like I said, we're all dealing with things. They had to deal with things, and all you just have to follow the little breadcrumbs. What was the thing that really bothered them that they couldn't get over, that you can? Because this is what we're about, breaking the cycles and breaking all that old habits so we can better ourselves. Well, good luck with everything. I know you got this.